What's going on, Philadelphia? Welcome to Youth Uncut, a show that gives youth a voice. My name is Coach Devon Buchanan, founder and executive director of the Focus Youth Network. For those of you who don't know, the Focus Youth Network is a nonprofit organization that provides innovative, educational, and recreational activities for youth and their families, centered around three main pillars: wellness and nutrition education, character development, and post-secondary success. Today, I'm so excited to have three amazing young women here as we talk about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is just this really kind of taboo word that's being thrown around right now, but at the same time, I'm watching amazing young people live the lives that they truly want to live because they're chasing their dreams. So let me introduce our guest for today. So I'd like to introduce our co-host, Anya Philogene. How are you today?
Good.
Good, awesome. We have Sanya Coleman and we have Haila Ryans. I'm excited to talk to them today about entrepreneurship because entrepreneurship is just something that I truly believe can change people's lives and allow them to pursue their dreams and lead the lives that they truly want to lead. And so let's just get right into the conversation. Anya and I are going to just have a conversation with you today and talk a little bit about some of your goals, the things you've accomplished, and the things that you want to do moving forward. So let's start with you, Haila, because I met you let's say back in February, I think it was, around there. So every year we have a fashion show. So Haila, reached out and was really anxious to start her own business, and our fashion show was the first opportunity for her to get her line out there. So I want to talk to you a little bit about it today and just how you really got started. So first, introduce yourself to everyone, who you are, where you go to school.
Okay, I'm Haila. I'm a senior at Carver Engineering Science High School. I'm the CEO of Naderi Designs, a custom clothing line. Naderi means rare and precious, so I have this idea that when you're in Naderi, when you're in my clothing, you're Naderi, which you're rare and precious. I make a lot of headbands. I specialize in headbands, different colors and different prints.
Awesome, awesome. And then you brought your friend Sanya with you today. What's up, Sanya?
Hi.
So I know, when you were talking to me, and Sanya, we met when we first were doing the fashion show as well, and you also said that you were interested in entrepreneurship. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're also interested in.
Well, just like my friend, I'm interested in fashion, and I like to make clothes, and I really like to dress, style and different stuff like that. So in the future, I want to have my own fashion company, and I also plan on going to school for fashion.
Awesome, awesome. Now, Anya, I'm gonna turn to you because I'm always interested in connecting people. So when we think about this idea of entrepreneurship, we had Haila and Sanya who are into kind of fashion and creating clothing lines and things like that. But when I talked to you, you said you were interested in what? What thing could go perfectly with them? You said you were interested, when we were on our way up here, what were you interested in?
Cosmetology.
Cosmetology, right? And so when I think about, young people like you who have these interests and things that y'all want to do, I always think about, well, you don't have to get started and do these things on your own. You got people here who very much could use the skills that you have as well. So how did you get into being interested in cosmetology?
Because my mom used to do people's hair. Like, she used to do my hair and then other people's hair.
I remember I
It
used
was
to get
like
my hair
a
done
second.
to this. All right. Go
It was
ahead.
like a second job, kind of. Well, yeah, it was like a backup job. And I used to think it was interesting to be doing knots. It looked like knots to me. So then I just started working on it, and then I started getting better as I got older.
Okay. And the cool thing is, right, so I just had a daughter. For those of you who know, I just had a daughter. I'm super proud dad here. But thank you very much. So she's about to be 10 months old, I think, in 2 days. 10 months, yeah. I'm sorry. So 10 months old in 2 days, but I just did her hair for the first time the other day. Yep, I was braiding it, I parted it, I put the little thing in there. So, it was super fun for me to get to see that, but also seeing how you young ladies, and one day, my daughter will be in 8th grade. Yeah.
Everything.
So I'm excited. So I want you to share with us, how did you get into, designing clothes, and how did you develop that passion, over your life?
Okay, for me, it's like fashion and designing clothes has always been a part of me. My mom used to make a lot of clothes, and then my aunt went to fashion school. And growing up, my mom would always make these wild things like trench coats or dresses and sets for everyone. And I always thought it was so cool. She used to sew really fast, and I always thought it was like, oh, so cool. And then she taught me, I think I made like pajama pants or something, and I used to go to the studio, and they had all types of fabric, a whole bunch of sewing machines. And for me and my mom, I guess that's something we bonded over, because she would go with me and I would learn to sew. And then I would just, make little things on my own. Everybody would think it was so cute. And yeah,
So it just kind of built over time. Now, how old were you when you first kind of got into it, or just sewed your first thing?
I would say I was like in third grade, so I guess it was like 9 or 10.
Okay.
And then I started with little things like cutting something out of a jacket and replacing it, or curtains, pajama pants, little things.
Yeah. So what type of things are you into? I know, so you're into design and stuff like that. So talk about what you like doing.
When I was probably like 12, my mom, she bought me, I was really into like Project Runway and watching shows about fashion.
Nice to watch that.
So my mom, she bought me a sketchbook. So I just used to sketch like a lot of different designs in a Project Runway book. And then as I got older, I realized like that's really what I like to do. Like I just love to go shop and look at different clothes, or just, pick out stuff that's really different, like that you don't really see a lot of people wearing. Yeah. So then I was just like, I think this is what I really need to do, because like that's all I like to do. I just like fashion and sketching different designs out. So then I got another sketchbook, and I just been doing that ever since.
Yeah. It was cool when we met, to hear how you were so anxious to get started, but you kind of like didn't really know where to get started. And so as you've developed this brand, and I've watched you, like we follow you on social media, and so I'm watching you develop this brand. Can you talk, and this is kind of going to be a little bit of extended portion, but I want to talk about some of the, not only the highs but the lows of like entrepreneurship, and some of like how you've been building your brand. What do you do to kind of get your name out? So I guess like the first thing, and I'll ask the question, feel free to hop in, but when you started, what did you feel like the first thing you needed to do to even get off the ground? Did you feel like you need to go out and start making clothes? Did you feel like you needed to learn more? Like, what did you feel like you needed to do to get started?
Okay, so initially it was more of a hobby for me. I didn't say I want to start a business making clothes. I would just make things for myself and people would like them. And it was more so, I don't think I wanted to let me make clothes for the next person or make a headband for the next person. I think it was just, I made it for me. I'm going to promote it that I made it, and then people would ask me, oh, can you make me one? Yeah. And it just went on from there. So I started going to vending events where I could network or sell my product, which was really fun. Sometimes it could be discouraging when you're paying for a vending table and then you don't make your money back, or you don't make any profit from that. And then.
Well, let's talk about that though. Let's talk about a little bit about that, because I've done vending events and things like that. And so, where do you get the money to even go do a vending event? Like, where do you do that? Like, let's start, because I want to, there's a lot of students out there who may have an idea, but they're just not quite sure where to go. And so I feel like it's almost like our responsibility to help them out. So where did you get the money? How did you even get started to do that?
So I have, like, my parents would give me money, and sometimes I would pocket it or go spend it on food. But I also have a job. So I can spend my money on fabric, spend it on the table, and I guess that's what funds my business, my job.
Okay. So let me ask you this: have you started to do your own thing? Have you started about creating your? Started creating your own line or anything like that?
Well, as far as like a line, no, but I just like make stuff here. Like I just make stuff like stuff for people, but I don't actually have a name to put onto it because I'm still just figuring out what name I want to put out there, and I want it to be good, so I don't want to rush into it.
Yeah.
So right now I just like make little stuff here and there, and then I'll just make certain stuff for people when they ask me.
Awesome. So I wanna see. Do you have any questions for them?
I have a question for Haila.
Okay.
So, in the future, do you think you will have stores like in multiple places in the world?
In the world?
Well, in the
dreaming
country.
big.
I know.
We dream big. Why not?
So as far as long term, I'm kind of at a rocky spot. I want to have my business. I want it to be long term, not just a hustle for right now.
Yeah.
But I do want to go to med school. So my vision, I still want to create. So I was having ideas like I could create, hospital gowns or pillows. And then maybe down the line, I will open a store.
Yeah. So I like where you're going. So let's talk about that because I heard you have two goals. One goal could potentially support the other if you build and work on it right now, right? And so everybody knows med school costs a certain amount of money, right? But I also know that you're an awesome young woman, you're a beautiful young woman, so you can use those things moving forward to build a brand for yourself.
Yeah.
But it is about how are you positioning yourself. And so it might be like, if your goal is to make whatever amount of money you need to make to pay for your tuition that semester, it may be that, okay, here's my campaign, and you're letting people know, all right, this is what I make. I'm selling these pillows. These are my med pillows or whatever the name you come up with, and then just use that to pay for your schooling. And I think, it sounds easier said than done.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think it takes like a plan and consistency. And as I've been watching you, I do think you have the ability to be creative. The things that you're wearing right now, right? Like, I would have never even thought if we have a whole shot, right? So we have a shot and we're seeing the outfit that you put together. And so it's just a matter of now creating that brand. And it isn't always about the clothes you're wearing. It's about the whole person, right? And so, how do you think right now, going from being a senior, because there's going to be a transition, what's your transition going to be like moving, from being a senior in school to going to college and handling all those different responsibilities? What do you think it's going to be like for you?
I think as far as the transition,
So I guess what I'm asking you is this, you spend a lot of time, you take care of yourself, so you have a job.
Yeah.
But, when you go away, are you going to be able to maintain that job and use those funds to do the things that you want to do? Are you planning to stay in the city or go out? How are you going to maintain the current life that you have?
okay. So my plan is what I see myself doing. So I do not plan on working in college. I want to, focus on school and my business. And I know colleges have different, fashion shows or whatever city I'm in. I'm pretty sure there will be some place for art. So I'm hoping that my business will be able to fund my life away when I'm in college.
Okay. So what do you think? So are you anxious at all about the transition going? So Anya, right? So y'all are at different transitions. She's transitioning to high school, and your high school was actually one of the high schools that she's considering.
Yes.
And so I'm sure that, as maybe a potential mentor, you can mentor her, not only just going into high school, but going into entrepreneurship, chasing dreams, whatever it is. So how about you? How do you see the transition going?
I feel like it's not people say that college is a different step into life, which I think is true. But I also feel like what we do right now, we work, then go to school, then still try to maintain a life outside of school. So I feel like it's not going to be that much of a difference. Like the workload, since we go to engineering and science, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not a challenge that we won't be able to handle.
Yeah. Do you feel as though, and this might be a difficult question to answer, but I want you to be, forward. Do you feel as though you are more motivated than some of the people that you spend your time around or see in your immediate circle?
Yes.
And what do you feel lends to that type of motivation? What about you or what about your experiences has led you to want to pursue entrepreneurship when other people don't, or want to do things that other people don't? Like, what's that?
I think,
Well, go ahead.
well, me and Haila, I think we really got really close because like we were going into the same path and we were motivated by the same things. But as far as like our friends, I do know that like most of the people that we surround ourselves with are not as motivated as we are. But one thing that we try to do is just like throwing little stuff like, oh, you say you want to do this, so let me challenge you and make sure you have, like, I have a friend, she want to do lashes, so I'll just be like, just text her one day and I'll be like, hey, have like 2 people lashes done, or try to like have a goal to set for them as well, so it's just not a just us type of thing.
Yeah.
So me and Sanya and I, we're all about this, like, avoiding the rat race.
Okay.
So
What's that mean?
just the idea.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that's a book.
Okay,
everyone
no,
should
I've
read.
heard of it, but go ahead, explain to me and us people who might not know what that is.
To me, it's this idea that you'll never win. You'll always be working for someone or to pay somebody back, whether it's student loans or you'll always have a boss. So, like a lot of adults, yeah, you go to college, you get a good job, but you'll never win because you'll always be working for somebody. Not to say that, oh, you can't work for anybody, but eventually the idea is that you want to pay yourself and you don't want to have to dread waking up every day.
You still gotta pay bills. You still,
Yeah.
like, every time that you work and you feel like you're getting to a good place, you're still paying for something. It's something that you have to pay. So
Yeah.
it's not really like you're not in this rat race because you're just living to do the same thing everybody else is doing.
Okay.
And so that, like entrepreneurship, you are your own boss. You decide whether you'll make $1 or $100 or even $1,000 for this day. And I do think we are a little bit more motivated just because of what drives us to do what we do. You know, some people might just wake up and go to school because they're told, but where there's people who get up to go to school because they want to be something great.
Yeah. Are you like that?
Like what?
Are you somebody that gets up and goes to school because you want to be something great?
Yes. Well, yes.
Why'd you hesitate?
I had to think about it.
So well, go ahead.
I'm done.
Well, so I asked that because y'all are well beyond your years and what I feel I was when I was your age. I struggled with knowing why I went to school. I know I had to go, and I know I had to get this education, and I know I had to pick some sort of like profession to do, but I didn't have any concept of student loans. Like, no one was sharing with me that information. It was, we were always scared of debt, and I'm excited to even talk about our next topic of generational wealth, and I hope that you guys watch our next episode as we talk about generational wealth. But there are ways to create generational wealth, and when I think about how much I wish I would have known about entrepreneurship and about the rat race, and had read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? Like, I mean, I listen to it on podcasts now on Spotify, so I listen to that on the way to work. But at the same time, I'm mid-30s now. You guys are equipped and empowered with this information to make lifelong, life-changing decisions, but not just for yourself. I think the thing that we struggle with in our community, in our society, is that when we get this information that we believe is a commodity,
You
this
keep it to
we
yourself.
keep it to ourselves.
Yep.
Yeah, and we don't want to share it because we think like, oh wait, then
They'll
somebody
win
else is
before
going
me.
to get it or win before me. And so I just think it's awesome how in listening to you guys, you said you challenge your friends. You challenge people to meet your goals. And I think that's awesome. You know, that's really great. And so we have a few more minutes left today. And so what I really want to do is see if we can give our viewers, some students that might be watching, some concrete steps, some things that they can do if they're just watching this at home. And I think, you know, this might show at 10 o'clock at night one day. So if they're just watching this at home, they got done school, they got done their homework, and they're like, I want to do more with my life. Let's give them some concrete things that they can do. And so what would you say would be the first step if somebody wanted to get into entrepreneurship? What would be the first step? I know what I would do, but what would be the first step?
I would say to really find something that you're passionate about. Because, you know, you might see this person making $50 from doing one client of lashes. And, I mean, you could do the same thing, but you wouldn't be passionate about it to keep going just because the money won't keep you there for long. It'll just keep you there while you're making it fast. But when it slow down and you're not passionate about it, it's nothing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I would say read, because when I read a lot of books about, you know, entrepreneurship, it just helps you learn different stuff that you don't learn in school. It helps you learn different things that they don't teach you as far as making money and coming out into the world. Like, everything's not going to be easy. You are going to have some losses. You're not going to make money as quick as you want to, but you're going to get there. Like, in order to be making money as far as the real entrepreneurs that's making millions, you have to really work hard and continue to work hard. Yeah. So I would say read books.
That's awesome. I would say, like, those are great first steps. And I would say those are great first steps. I had a class today, and I tried to explain to my students the amount of money it actually takes just to live.
Yes.
And they had no clue. One student suggested that I rent, because I said one of my goals, and, you know, I'll share this with anybody, one of my goals is to be able to take a year off with myself and my wife, take my daughter out of school and travel the world for a year and just have her see all different types of cultures and countries and different things. And one student said, well, why don't you just get your own private jet? I was like, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher at your school. How much do you think a private jet costs? Had no clue.
Too much.
And I was like, well, it's $500 just to get on the plane.
Just to book it.
Just to book a plane. It's going to cost you at least $500. And so I think it's equipping our young people with the knowledge. And I'm super impressed because, you know, for the most part, are you learning about Rich Dad, Poor Dad in school?
No.
Are you learning about generational wealth in school?
No.
Are you learning about entrepreneurship in school? If you say no, see, I be trying to teach them this stuff all the time, and it goes right over there. They don't listen.
But you only doing like some of the SEL classes.
Some of the stuff, right? And and that's the biggest thing, is you guys are able to educate yourselves.
Yeah, and I think that's key, because in our community, everybody gets stuck on, they're not teaching us how to pay our taxes. They're not teaching us credit. But I don't think it's the school's problem anymore. I think it's all on us, because if we know nobody's teaching us, then now it's our fault, because now we're not going out to get that information on our own. So I don't think it's valid anymore when people complain about what the school's not teaching us.
Yeah.
And there's also like a lot of things as far as like how Haila met you. It's just like seminars that people have. We and Haila even went to seminars together just about like stock market and stuff like that. So just if you look for it, you'll find it. So I agree with what she's saying.
That's a great point. And Philadelphia itself is not lacking in programs. They're not lacking in opportunities for kids to learn stuff.
Exactly.
It's just kids are lacking in self-motivation
to go get it,
to want to go find it, which is why we're here today. Which is why, I created Youth Uncut, because we really need to find the opportunity to equip our young people with the skills they need to make lasting change in their community. And to be honest with you, as an educator, I've been doing this for 10 years, it doesn't always happen in the school. When you think about a school and the makeup of a school, you're at the mercy of what each teacher and their own life experiences
And what they know.
and what they know. And so if none of them have ever started a business, how in the world
Are they
are
gonna
going to
teach
teach
it?
you to do it?
Yep.
You know, and so these are the struggles that are heightened in our community because our parents aren't owning businesses, right? My parents didn't own a business, and so I had no clue. And when I go to class and I try to tell my students, it is possible for you to do it, you know, like they don't understand, right? Like, what are your thoughts on that? You're in the school with me. What are your thoughts on learning about it?
And then I keep notes when you talk about that, but then when they're talking about it, they just say what comes to their brain, but they say easy questions. And then when you're trying to answer the questions, they don't think about it as much.
Yeah.
And then they just try to switch the topic because like they don't want to think deeper.
You remember when the other day when I talked about teaching y'all how to think? And that's the thing about kids is making sure that they know how to think and they're equipped with those skills. And so I'm so excited to be able to talk about entrepreneurship, but even on our next episode as we talk about generational wealth, because this really can segue, you know, right into it. We have about 30 seconds left, and so we'll finish up. Do you have any advice that you want to give to our audience out there before we finish up?
Start a business.
Start a business.
Read.
Read.
Believe.
I love it. Start a business, read, and believe that you can. Listen, guys, this has been an episode of Youth Uncut as we talk about entrepreneurship, equipping our young people with the skills they need to make lasting change in their communities. This has been Youth Uncut. My name is Coach Buchanan, and we'll see you next time.